You are listening to a BeachGlass Media Podcast.
Born to be a roughneck, I'll never amount to nothing. Pulling case and laying pipe is hard labor. But I was born in a boomer shack about a half a mile.
All right, welcome to the Simple Times Podcast, Simple Sessions. I have a very special guest today in the studio, Jurgen Romero. And this is not the first time that you've heard him on Simple Times, but we're going to welcome him back again, and we're titling this episode, Roughnecks and the Black Gold.
I'll never amount to nothing. Pulling case and laying pipe is hard labor.
So, welcome, Jurgen, to the podcast, and I'm so happy that you're here again. What do you have to say to our listeners?
Hey everyone, thanks for welcoming me back. This is the Big J Dog with the Big Shirley with Big Andrew. Thank you for having me again in the Simple Time Podcast, Simple Sessions. It's good to be back. It's good to hang out with my best buddy in the whole world, Andrew.
Aw, man,
And,
you're making me blush.
I've missed you, man. Thanks for making the time to fit me in. So just whenever, man, fire away.
Oh, man, it feels so good to have you here and to be hanging out. And we've just been chatting for a long time before we hit the record button and just catching up and seeing you again. And it's great. It feels like old times. What's great about having a friend like you is that so much time goes by and it feels like when we meet up again, like, oh, it was just yesterday that I saw you. We could just pick up where we left off.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Just picking up where we left off, man. Even though it's been, 4 years almost, right?
It's been about 4 years.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed. You talk about all the honeys you've been with. I'm just kidding. well, half joking.
I have been seeing honeys, but
all right, we'll save that for an extra special midnight edition of the Simple
after
Sessions.
hours.
Exactly.
Simple cast after hours. Nightcap edition.
All right, but for all the new listeners here, I have some fun facts written down here about Jurgen. Fun fact number 1, Jurgen was my best man in my wedding.
Yeah, and I made the best speech too.
You did make the best speech. It was so good. You made my mother-in-law cry.
Yeah, and she don't cry easily, guys.
No. The only time she cried is when I said, hey, I'm going to marry your daughter. JK.
I hope there were tears of joy. I'm pretty sure they were. I'm sure she's very, very lucky to have a son-in-law like you.
Oh, that's sweet. Fun fact number 2, and, well, I already kind of mentioned it, but this is not the first time Jurgen's been on the Simple Times Podcast. He was on the podcast, what do we call it? D-Boys and El Jefe? Remember the D-Boys?
Yeah, man.
Explain to our old listeners and you listeners what the D-Boys was.
The D-Boys was a group that we made to play volleyball and combat evil in this world. Yeah, man, we were unstoppable, man.
Yeah, we took out all kinds of evil
on the court and off the court. And for those of you who don't know, volleyball is our sport. I don't know if you still like it or not.
Jurgen, it's my favorite sport still.
Yeah.
I wish I could play it every day.
Yeah, same
I
here.
just don't have the time. That's the sad truth, Ruth.
Yeah, we both had to grow up and get big boy jobs, and Andrew started a family. I have a dog.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, go ahead, man.
And the last fun fact that I have about Jurgen, that he did appear on the Simple Times Podcast back in November of 2014. That's 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you were on the podcast 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. Wow, time flies, man. I thought it was last week.
I know, right? And if I remember correctly, this is when I lived in that apartment in Redondo Beach.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, we were there. 10 years later, here we are again. Man, some things never change. You still have the coolest hair that no joke, I'm jealous of. Because my hair's getting all thin and getting some gray hairs, and I'm feeling like an old man every now and then.
You and I both, man. We're up there in age now. We're no longer.
Well, we're in our mid-30s.
Yeah, we still got it.
It's
we still
not bad.
Got it, yeah.
We got a good 5 years of youth.
Right? Yeah. Before I start wearing those old guys rule shirt, we still got it. We still have a few years left.
You still have the best jokes, and that I'm just being 100% truthful right there. You know how to make me laugh, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, I'm glad. Usually, for those of you who don't know me personally, I'm usually pretty shy. But once you get to know me, I opened up a little more, and then you can't get me to shut up. So
it's hard to believe that you're shy, because the Jurgen I know is not shy. Yeah. But for reals, Jurgen, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being back on Simple Times, Simple Sessions. This is going to be a great episode because we're talking about what you do for a living. And as you can guess from the title, you're you call yourself a roughneck?
Yeah. So
what's the proper term?
So I guess you can say oil field worker, or whatever your position might be, a floor hand, derrick hand. We'll go through all the positions a little later.
Yeah,
but just a roughneck is just a nickname given to the oil field workers. Because I guess we have roughnecks.
Yeah.
That's simple as that, So,
did you ever think you would end up in that kind of job growing up?
No. So the person, so how I got into it was through my brother Steve. And he never wanted me to get into it because it's a hard field. It's very physically demanding, and he would always tell me, go to school, learn a trade, sit behind a computer or something. But the more he told me about it, it just seemed really cool. And there's nothing wrong with working with your hands. Nothing wrong with a little hard labor. It does the body good, and if to me it feels like it gives me a purpose. And
yeah, I can identify with that because I did a lot of odd jobs until I landed at the post office, and yeah, you get the sense of you can kind of physically see your work being completed, and that's a good feeling. That's what I tell people is I see my mail truck at the beginning of the day all packed full of mail and packages, and then at the end of the day my truck is empty, and it's like, yeah, I delivered all of that. So it's a good feeling to know that seeing your work being completed, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, that's a good point you brought up, man. Regardless of what you do, take pride in what you do. Whether it's a janitor delivering mail, a carpenter, oil field worker, just take pride. Even the Bible says, I'm not exactly where the scripture is, but it says, whatever you do it as if you were doing it for the Lord, and that means giving it 100%. If you're doing something for, the Lord, for the God of the universe, you would want to do it 110%. And that's the philosophy that I have in whatever you do, whether it be small or you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, give it your best.
Amen to that. So now we're going to open up our Bibles to the book of John. And first, let us pray. Yeah. I'm just kidding. No, that was fantastic. Oh. So, just like my job, and the people who listen know that I'm a mail carrier, I feel that it's a job that nobody thinks about in their day-to-day life. And we don't realize... Like, for example, I'm a mailman. We don't realize how much the mail service actually impacts, the people around us. Like, for example, people buy their packages off Amazon fairly regularly, right? And most people don't know that we have a contract with Amazon. When I'm delivering packages and I see the customer, I'm like, oh, here's your package. And they're like, oh, you deliver Amazon? I'm like, yeah, we have a contract with Amazon. You know, so a lot of people are surprised. And but what they don't realize is the contract that Amazon has with the Postal Service, it keeps prices down for the consumer when, you know, the shipping rate stays low because of the Postal Service. So just like that, these little things that most people don't think about, I feel it's the same way with your job, Jurgen, that you do this job in our day-to-day life. We don't think about the oil fields. We don't think about oil. Maybe when we're filling up with gas or something, you know. But my point for this episode is for you to explain the importance of the oil fields, the job that you do, what it means for society, and just everything all around us. I want people not to take oil for granted because, I mean, you're a roughneck, and there's a reason why we call it black gold, right?
Correct.
So if you could just shed some light on this topic, I want you to educate us. I want to know everything there is to know.
Right on. Well, to begin with, so what I do, there's different, I guess, subdivisions of oil. To be like, every time I tell people I work in the oil fields, they think a refinery, and that is one of them. But no, I work in the it would be in the well service, drilling / well service department. So drilling is just what it sounds like. It's drilling the hole for the well, and then once the well's completed, the well service, that division, that part, they come in and they either, if it's a producer, that's what a well is called. You guys have seen, if you guys are driving around, you've seen those pumps that kind of look like a horse going up and down.
Yeah, growing up in Lomita,
yeah,
would go to one of the parks in Lomita, and there'd always be that thing bobbing up and down. And in my head, yeah, it looked like a horse or a dinosaur, or some
well,
kind
they
of
are
animal.
Called horse's head.
Oh, they're called horse's head.
Yeah, that big kind of head that you see. That's what it's called, the horse's head.
As a kid, I always saw it, but I never thought two things about it. I just thought, oh, it's just that thing that goes up and down. There's a pipe going down to the ground.
They're rods. They're called rods.
The rods, okay, going up and down. And maybe as a kid, I just thought, oh, it's a machine and it's doing something for energy. But if I had to explain it, I wouldn't have known what was going on. But I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that type of wells. There are injectors. There are producers. ESP pumps, which is basically the same concept, except the pump is submersible. That's what it's called, ESP, electronic submersible pump.
Submersible as in underwater?
Yeah, in the hole, in the well. Yeah.
Okay,
So so the pump is all the way in the bottom, and it activates. It has a electrical cable that runs all the way up to the surface, and they can turn it on and off whenever they want, instead of being hydraulic like the horse's head. Well, they are electrical too, yeah. So there's different. There's gas storage wells, and which I'm currently working on at my current job. So yeah, there's a whole world that a lot of people, like you said, aren't aware of.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because I hear about the oil fields. When you start working there, that's when I first learned about the term roughneck.
Yeah. Like
I really didn't hear much about this term roughnecks before you got into that job. And yeah, there's just so much that I didn't know.
Yeah. And that's what sparked my curiosity, because my brother, like I mentioned before, my brother got me into this industry, and the more he talked about it, the more he explained, and it just seemed pretty cool to me. And like I said, I've always enjoyed working with my hands, never minded labor. And
you were saying that he kind of was trying to steer you away.
Yeah.
Why do you think he was trying to steer you away from that
job? In the beginning, it's hard. It's hard, and it's a lot of information, and it's an industry that if you're easily offended, easily bullied, you're not gonna last very long, and you have to have a really tough skin to get through those first few years. I'll mention it later on, but there was a few days, man, that I left pretty frustrated from work in my early days and almost in tears because I wanted to be better.
Right.
I wanted to get it. I wanted to prove the doubters that didn't think I was going to make it, that I could make it.
Yeah.
And I think he was, being a big brother, he was trying to shield me from that. And because he went through it. He came in a time that was even worse. He came in a time where they were real, like, just not cared. They didn't get lunch. They didn't get no breaks. It was just on the go. He told me the story of one time he went behind the rig to eat a sandwich, like scarf it down. And his boss caught him. Hey, you get back there!
Oh no!
And then I'm not scared of heights, but there is when you begin, you go up on the derrick, which is at least 60 to 90 feet high.
Yeah. So explain to us what a derrick is, because I remember you would take pictures of the derricks, and I would see you like up high and taking these panoramic pictures of like the ocean around you and the city, and I'm like, wow. These pictures look very beautiful, but then I'm like, oh wait, he's way up there.
Yeah.
And explain like what this thing is, this derrick, this machine.
Yeah, so it's the derrick. It's pretty much the part of, we call it the monkey board. It's pretty much the part where you stand and you latch pipe. When we start, we call it a tripping pipe in the hole, in and out of the hole. So whenever you're pulling out of the hole or running in the hole, you work on this little platform, so to speak, called the derrick board, the monkey board, and that's where all the pipe is stood back. And whether you're running in or pulling out, that's where it goes, and that's where you latch pipe from.
So pipe is going underground.
Yeah.
And then like shooting back up.
Yeah, we pull it out. There's these things called the elevators. The pipe has at the end of the pipe, it has a collar and it has a lip. And so the elevators grab onto when you close them, they grab onto that lip, and that's how you pull pipe and you run it out.
And the pipe is what contains the oil?
Yeah, so for example, so in drilling, you're drilling, you have drill pipe, you're drilling the well. So technically, we don't really deal with oil unless we're working on a producer or one of those horse's head rod wells. Is basically it's like if you would dip your straw in the chocolate shake and you pull it out, it's going to come full of chocolate shake.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. It's not like they have oil in them at the moment. There is oil obviously in the well, and that's how we get dirty and oily. But
I've seen those pictures of you two like covered in oil, like it rained oil on you.
So when it doesn't happen every day. Those pictures are because we're doing a cutout, which is we're pulling the ESP pump, the submersible pump that's in the well.
Mm-hmm.
We're pulling it out, and if you guys remember the electrical cable that I talked about that goes from the very bottom to the top, that's banded to the tubing with steel bands. When we run in the hole with the ESP pump, we band it, and then when we pull out, we got to cut those bands. So usually when we're doing a normal trip in and out of the hole, we have something called a stripping rubber, which cleans the pipe as we're pulling out. That way you don't get oily or dirty. But in that case, since it has that cable, you can't put the stripping rubber. You got to put it a little high, so as you're pulling out, all that oil splashing down on you, and that's how you get dirty. So it doesn't happen every day, and then yes, the pipe is a little oily, dirty, but those moments are very far and few in between. But when they do happen, you definitely get dirty.
So that definitely is a dirty job.
Yeah. It's not like the punk band Fugazi says. Sometimes good guys don't wear white. And what they're trying to mean is, not all white, not all blue collar workers are bad.
Right.
So if you guys are punk fans, make sure to listen to that song by Fugazi or Minor Threat. I think one of the same person.
I'm gonna have to look it up because Another thing, Jurgen, is
good guys don't wear white.
nice.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
No, you've always introduced me to really good music. So every time you suggest something, I'm always listening because you have a good taste in music. What was I going to ask you next? So I want to get your insight on why the oil field is important to you, or what's important about the oil field, because as I was mentioning earlier, we don't really tend to think about it on our day-to-day, life, what the oil represents in like everything that we do. But I mean, what are your thoughts on the importance of oil?
So oil is extremely important to our society, to our economy. Everything we have is thanks to oil. Even if you own an electric vehicle car, I forgive you. But even then, the tires, they're petroleum byproduct, the plastic. So everything we have is thanks to this natural resource that is, it's a little dirty, but a lot of people don't realize that it's organic. It comes from the earth.
Comes from the earth.
Just like, gold, just like natural gas. It's something that makes our society, run.
Yeah, it's
and
it's considered a fossil fuel, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that. People, one time I told this guy, like, don't you realize that oil is organic? It comes from the earth. It's not man-made. And he was blown away. He didn't, it was this hippie guy that I was arguing with. Yeah. Dirty hippie, with dreadlocks and playing hacky sack. And
he sounds really dirty.
So,
the dreadlocks.
I was like, Rastaman. He didn't know what to say. He was, I was like, oil is refined. You get hydraulic oil and gear oil and motor oil because of the crude oil. Yeah, that is okay. You can technically say that is made in the lab, but crude oil, it's part of Earth. It's renewable. It's a source that we need to survive.
Why do you think the hippies, the environmentalists, they seem to always be cracking down on like the oil industry? They want to replace it with alternative energy. What do you call it? Alternative.
Yeah, the green
alternative energy,
renewable sources, whatever they
renewable.
Want to call it.
That's the word I was looking for.
I think they're not informed, and I get it. Oil companies are a little shady. But at the same time, I read a testimony from one of the co-founders of Greenpeace. Mm-hmm. Back in the 60s, he said they started out with good intentions, and the reason he left was because Greenpeace, it wasn't about the environment anymore. They were about the other kind of green, which is money. So that's why he left, and he said that they care more about that than actually saving the animals, saving the environment. And unfortunately, we human beings are flawed, and we corrupt things. It's like that with religion, with politics, with whatever
organization.
Unfortunately, us human beings, we are flawed and
they say power corrupts.
And that's true. And I get it. There is shady parts of the oil industry, but overall, man, we're doing if we do, we're doing if we don't.
Right. Because like you were saying, the oil, most of our plastics come from it, and we use plastic almost every day without realizing it. It's just everywhere. It fuels our cars, and I get it. Like, I know the environmentalists are like, there's too much pollution, CO2 in the air, we got to keep it down. But what do they come up with? Like wind and solar, right?
Yeah.
But tell us what the problem is with wind and solar. Like, it's cool. You're driving down Palm Springs and you see these windmills, but are they reliable?
So I read an article a few years back that Germany has been the closest country to kind of depend on solar and wind. But the problem is during winters, there's hardly any sun. or wind or whatever it might be. So they got to resort back to coal, and that upsets the prices to their citizens, and they become I forgot what the term was called. I think they call it energy poor, because it they have to switch back to coal for those cold months. And I don't know, I've never been to Germany, but it looks pretty cold all the time over there.
Yeah.
and then it's on paper, it's a good idea. And also, let me bring up another. I read another article a few years back in the LA Times. They were talking about. Have you guys ever been driving to Vegas and you see that big solar farm in the middle of the desert?
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Okay, so when they're building that, they noted that they were killing a lot of endangered species, like tortoise and the rabbits, the jackrabbits that live there, all the insects.
Oh no!
So they were killing their homes.
Right.
And so yeah, like I said, on paper it sounds good, but the sun's not out all the time, even in the desert. And those windmills, they kill a bunch of birds.
I saw a video, a bald eagle, our country's
bird, man.
It can't see the spinning,
the little fins or the
fins, and it just smacked that eagle, and the eagle came crashing down, and it's sad to see that. But of course, one side will say, "Oh, that doesn't happen very often." But it's like, but you have to at least acknowledge it's killing the animals over here.
Yeah.
And like you said, when there's no wind, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
So it's not reliable.
No. And maybe diesel powered engines are a little dirty and gassy, but man, they make the world go run. Maybe a little off topic, but everything you mentioned about delivery trucks and all that. Truck drivers, what do their trucks run on? Diesel. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't get our groceries, our supplies. So it's like I said, it's a very important part of our society, and a lot of people, just because Leonardo DiCaprio was talking about going green, don't listen to him, guys. Listen to me. I know the answers.
Okay. Listen to Leonardo DiCaprio when he's delivering lines on the screen, but when it comes to energy, let's find someone else. We'll just stick to Jurgen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you mentioned Germany and how it looks cold over there.
Yeah.
Hey, the heat that we get in our homes, you bet it's because of oil, right?
Yeah. It's from gas, natural gas that comes from the earth, and thankfully we have it. We have God has provided us with all the tools we need to survive, and here on Earth. And it's like I said, guys, it's just like I was arguing with this lady, and she was giving me heck about working in the oil fields, and she had a nice little Mercedes-Benz, and I asked her, so does that mean your Mercedes-Benz runs on hopes and dreams, and not that diesel logo that you have right there? And she didn't know what to say. So it's easy to criticize, but you take away the gas and the oil away from those people, and watch them return real quick.
Yeah, it's all around us. It's the plastics, it's the heat, it's the light, it's like everything. We don't realize that oil is a big part of our daily lives.
It's a necessity.
And but at the same time, and I got to do my research. Like I understand the pollution. I heard back. I was talking to my mother-in-law, the one that you made cry on my wedding day. That growing up, she remembers seeing the smog in L.A. Back in like the 90s or whatever.
Yeah.
And how terrible it was. And I remember seeing pictures like on the news. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look right. And even till this day, like some days you could see the smog in the air. So I get it. Like, what are we breathing in? Is this good for us? And, it's important to take measures to reduce that because, no one wants to live in a smoggy city. Yeah. But when you think about all the good that we've done here in the United States and compared to other countries like China, Beijing,
Oh yeah, they're even worse.
They're way worse. And it's like, hey, we're doing our part. And then here in America, you hear about, save the sea turtles, the plastic straws. And they say all this trash is coming from like India or whatever.
Yeah, they produce, China and India produce more trash in the ocean, in our oceans, than any other country. I think the U.S. is like 1 or 2%,
right,
out of all the trash that's been found.
And I kind of get it. Like, let's try to be leaders and be good examples. But at the same time, like, hey, China, India, like, you guys need to step up your game. It can't all fall on us.
So my message to Greta Thunberg is, what are you doing to stop them? Stupid little girl. Right? She's only protesting the big countries. I dare you to go to Russia and China. You'll be arrested so fast. The U.S. is very tolerable. And those countries, she would not survive in there. So, F you, Greta Thunberg.
I'm no fan of little Greta. Just because you can...
How dare you?
Just because you can make a little speech that sounds good. Just because it sounds good doesn't mean you're right. But, anyway, going back to the oil, the black gold. No, just hanging out with you and hearing about your job, it's very insightful.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think more people should be thankful, grateful for what the Roughnecks do out there, for the people that work in the oil fields. Yeah. We use it every day.
Yeah.
And, just like you said, even how, people are trying to go green and stuff and try to be all electric vehicles. It still takes oil to produce all these cars.
Yeah, and the electricity that comes from that powers those cars is powered by coal. So you're still, so you brought up the electric vehicles. So I think I told you this when we talked about ideas. So what a lot of people, these people in Beverly Hills and Newport Beach, they think they're on the high horse because they're driving a Tesla or a Nissan Leaf, whatever they call it. And but they don't realize that those minerals that they need to make the batteries, they come from third world countries. And those countries use child and slave labor. So you're contributing to child and slave labor, and they don't even know it. They're just, like I said, because Leonardo DiCaprio endorsed one of these companies, they feel all high and mighty and they're above us, and but they don't know that. You think Africa has HRs and unions, and China and Russia, where they treat their workforce like crap, and no, they don't. And a lot of people are misinformed about that, and hopefully we can clear it up on this Simple Time podcast.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm not here to say like we know everything or I know everything, but I do believe in free speech and having opinions and talking about these topics, and just saying, hey, why don't you look into these a little more carefully before you think buying a electric vehicle is saving the planet.
Yeah. I ain't got nothing wrong, and I have nothing against anybody that owns electric vehicles. I actually thought, about 10 years ago of buying one myself because I was driving a lot for work.
Yeah. And the gas prices are going high.
Yeah. But like I said, if you're gonna do it, don't be all high and mighty. Don't act like you're better than us. Just be quiet and drive your Tesla.
Yeah, there's a stigma about
eat your
that.
Kale and broccoli and and wear your Tom Sliff shoes
and eating that vegan burger.
Yeah, and kombucha. And yeah, just leave us alone. Let live and let live.
Good point. A couple of things, Jurgen. I do enjoy me some kombucha sometimes.
No, nothing against
and
that.
I did have an electric vehicle for a short amount of time, but it was pre-owned and it didn't work that well. I sent it back. But I do think there are places and settings where an electric vehicle would be a good choice. Like for me, my commute to work is like 2 miles.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So being able to, and of course having a house to plug it in.
Yeah.
people who don't have houses and live in apartments, they probably don't have a setup for like an electric vehicle. But I think that is the way the world is going more electric. But I personally believe it should be more of like a hybrid type thing. Like, yeah, use your electric here, but don't forget the oil is still just as important. We use it every day. We heat our homes, for plastic, for anything. We should use both. Which now I'm starting to think the hybrid vehicles are like the smartest option at the moment.
Yeah, reach a compromise, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I think there should be some kind of compromise in the whole environmentalist movement that's going on. Like, hey, let's just work together.
Yeah.
And then, of course, since we're talking about energy, what do you think about nuclear? Have you ever thought about that?
I don't know too much about the subject. The little bit that I've dabbled in it is I heard it's clean. It's cleaner, obviously, than fossil fuels, and it's renewable and from the little bit the research that I've done, I heard it's great. I heard whatever article I read, they were making a pretty good point. So yeah, I mean, as long as you don't have a bunch of Homer Simpsons working in the power plants, if you have responsible and good engineers that know what they're doing, I think it's a safe alternative. If people really want to look into other alternatives, I think that's a good alternative to look at. But like I said, I'm not too knowledgeable in the subject. But yeah,
man, it sounds like Marcelo's in the room with us. He somehow always manages to squeeze The Simpsons, like a reference in our episodes. Yeah. So you two must have been hanging out. All right. Well, let's bring this episode to a close. So I'm just going to ask you some quick questions. First one is, what's a typical workday look like? I mean, I know you've worked different jobs in the oil field, and I think you were telling me that now you're doing something completely different than when you started off. But what does a workday look like for you now? You were telling me you just came back from Stockton?
Yeah. So right now I've been traveling a lot. I got hired on to this company called Ensign. They're a great company to work with. I'm really happy there.
I like that you're sporting the sweater with the logo on there. It looks really cool. I like it. It's a nice color.
I'll show you the back later, but it has a pretty cool picture. We just did a year anniversary without any accidents or incidents.
Congrats.
So that's good. And safety is a big part of our industry, because it's not only cheap insurance for the company, but it shows that care. They provide us with all the safety tools that we need. Obviously, nobody wants to chop off a hand or a finger, a leg, get hurt.
Have you seen anything like that?
I've seen a buddy of mine got hurt, his pinky, and it opened up pretty good.
Oh,
luckily,
man.
he didn't lose it or anything like that. But
wow.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. I've never seen anything that gnarly myself. Thankfully, hopefully I never do.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody of my brothers get hurt. There was just an incident in Long Beach. A rig tipped over, and I happened to know the guy that was on the derricks. He got pretty messed up. Excuse me. It's a miracle he survived. He literally fell with all the pipe and everything, and the derricks, and they had to dig him out. He got pretty messed up, but thank God he's alive and he's gonna make it through. Excuse me. So yeah, what were we talking about?
A typical
work day. Okay.
So run us through a typical day at work.
So just depending on what we do, but most of the time is pretty uneventful. We're either tripping pipe or running a tool down the hole. We could be section milling or drilling out cement. Excuse me, sorry.
It's that tobacco you chewing, man. Oh, for those of you,
some water.
For those of you tuning in, Jurgen came over and he's gonna take a little swig of water real quick. But he came over. He's like, "Hey, Andrew, you got you got a styrofoam cup or something? And I'm like, I got this cup. He's like, no, I don't want one of your regular cups, like something you don't mind throwing away. And I'm like, I don't know. I got this old Folgers container. And he's like, yeah, because I'm going to chew some tobacco wacky.
Sounds macky.
What are you chewing over there?
So this this little fine product is called, well, it used to be called Redmond.
Redmen?
Yeah.
As in the Indians?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But now
the company went woke.
Oh, so
And it's called America's Best.
you can't talk anything about the Indians. We give them land. We stay off the casinos. And then, no, we can't. They can't even be featured on the Land O'Lakes butter.
No. So,
Dang.
so this is my favorite tobacco to chew.
So it used to be called Redmen.
Redmond? Yeah.
And now it's
called America's Best.
Is it America's Best?
To me, it is. I like it because there's other companies like Copenhagen and Grizzly, and they're in a little tin can, and it looks like tobacco that's been chewed. And nothing wrong with them. I don't know. This is the actual leaf. If you guys ever seen The Sandlot, that episode where they before they go on the little roller coaster where that song Tequila comes on.
Oh, that's a good scene.
Yeah, they bring out a bag. It kind of looks like this, and they pop the leaf in and they chew it. The trick is don't swallow your spit, the saliva.
Oh, okay.
That's how you get dizzy and throw up.
Oh, so
the first time I chewed, I swallowed.
So in the Sandlot, when they were going around the little carousel-looking thing, they were swallowing in.
Yeah,
What, they all started throwing up?
Yeah, they were most likely swallowing their saliva, and
I almost forgot about that scene.
Yeah. So
the puke was all like orange. Wow.
So yeah, when you have to get used to it. It's an acquired taste, I guess. And it does leave you a little lightheaded in the beginning. Once I'm already used to it. I've been doing it for years, so and I like to smoke cigars as well.
Man, you're refined now. You're a man's man.
Yeah. So I always carry an axe in the back of my car.
Whoa.
Lumberjack. No. Anyways,
don't tailgate. Don't drive too close behind Jurgen.
So anyways, yeah, that's my favorite. I don't have nothing against other, the little tin can ones, but to me that's more true to tobacco because it's the actual leaf.
America's Best. You heard it here first on.
This show was sponsored by not.
Hopefully one day we get sponsors, but down the line.
Oh, but a typical work day. So like I was saying, you come in. We either be tripping in out of the hole. Tripping in is going in the well in the hole with tubing pipe. We'll be running a tool, whether it be a scraper, a drill bit, packer, retrievable brush plug, bumper sub, drill collars, whatever. So that'll be that'll be a typical work day. There are days that are pretty easy, like waiting on orders. You're waiting on orders. Hurry up and wait. You go out, clean the rig a little, pick up trash.
I've heard that
organize.
At work also.
Yeah.
Like if our mail's ready but our packages aren't, they're like, hurry up what? Hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait, yeah. So that's and there's different positions. Like I was going to say, you have your derrick hand, the guy that works up there. You have your operator / driller. He's a guy running the brake handle, making the rig go up and down. That's kind of like the crew chief. Then you have your rig manager, tool pusher. He's the one in charge of the operation, in charge of the crew. You have your floor hands that work the floors, work the tubing tongs. And then the guy that kind of oversees everybody is called the company man. And he's kind of the middleman in between the rig manager and the engineer. And he gets paid the big bucks. Normally they'll make around about between $1,100 and $1,400 a day.
Dang.
Yeah. So those guys are lighting their cigars with $100 bills.
I bet.
Yeah. So
are you plan on getting there?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'm open to anything.
I could see you. I could see you there.
I
could see you lighting those cigars with $100 bills.
They have a lot of responsibilities, just not just sitting behind the desk, and they have a lot. And Obviously, it's down to what the engineer says, but they have a lot of power in what they decide, so they can kind of punk the engineer into making them do what they want.
Crazy. All right. I'll let you cough out that tobacco real quick. And while Jurgen's clearing out his throat, I'm just going to toss him the next question. Is there any funny moments you can think about? I mean, there has to be a funny moment. You tell me all kinds of stories. I remember you telling me about Lobster Tail and all these old buddies you used to work with.
Yeah, Lobster Tail, Mighty Mouse,
Mega Man. And now you think, you listeners, you think these are nicknames, but no. Jurgen actually worked with Mighty Mouse, the cartoon, and Mega Man with an arm that would turn into like a gun. And Lobster Tail, it was just a walking lobster tail, right?
Well, yeah, he had a lobster tail.
But he was up there laying pipe and all that.
Yeah. He was getting it.
Yeah, but funny moments.
Man, there's been a few. I think.
Hey, you can give us a few.
The ones that stick out. So we were running a tool down the hole. We're making up BHA, bottom hole assembly.
Okay, bottom hole assembly.
Which is what you were on at the bottom, right? Whether it be a packer, drill bit, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So normally some of these tools are pretty tall. So on some of the work floors that we have, they have a little lid where you can open it up and the tool can come down, and that way you can do whatever you have to do, reach.
Okay.
And so we were in a hurry, we were getting it. And I was offshore, and offshore we use drilling mud. This is a special kind of mud that we use to prevent from being a blowout. So that fluid, it's called kill fluid or drilling mud. It helps us fight the hydrostatic pressure, because the well might have pressure, gas bubbles.
Yeah,
and that fluid helps it keep it down.
Oh, gotcha.
So we had all the pipes standing back. Nobody was in the dairy yet. And like I said, we were getting ready to run in the hole. So I took off the lid and I threw it behind me where the pipe was. So the pipe, when we pull out of the hole, it's all that mud is coming down on the tubing mats.
Okay.
And it's a nice little thick mud had been accumulating right there. So I'm in a hurry. I'm trying to get it. I take the lid off. I throw it behind me.
Oh no!
And I'm pulling the tool in to so it can fit in the hole,
right?
In the little rat hole that we call it. And I see my coworker start cracking up, and I was like, "What's so funny?" And he points behind me, and I had my rig manager and the tool hand full of mud, because I threw the lid right where all the mud was, and all the mud splashed onto them. So they were just looking at me like, what the heck?
So you threw something behind you, just not thinking.
A really heavy, not a heavy lid, but it was a heavy lid, a metal lid, and I threw it behind me just because I was in a hurry. I didn't look. It landed where all the mud had accumulated, and it splashed. You should have seen their faces.
Like when you threw it, it fell on the ground.
Yeah. So where the pipe was, we call it tubing mats. That's where the pipe is when we stand it back, and obviously all that mud that's been in the pipe, it drips down.
Yeah.
And it drips, and it makes a little puddle of mud, water, whatever the cool fluid might be. And
so when you threw the lid, it hit the floor.
Landed right on the mud,
and it splashed everywhere.
And they were just kind of like brand new uniforms. Obviously, the rig manager doesn't get dirty, the tool hand doesn't get dirty.
Oh, it would be like the CEO of a company.
It wouldn't be that bad, but your manager, important people
dress up in their nice attire.
So I looked back, and they were just like staring at me full of mud, and oh my God,
what were they doing back there?
They were just watching us,
They're like, this is the greatest crew we have ever assembled.
Yeah,
this is Jurgen Romero. He's been here for a while. He's getting really good. He just splashed mud all over them.
Yeah, that was funny, man. And then
oh man,
and it's just it's a good time. Like I said, we joke around. We prank people.
Pranks? What kind of pranks could you?
Sometimes what people
can you come
do,
up with? What you're working at this crazy, dangerous job. Who has time for pranks? What are you doing out there?
Sometimes, for example, they'll come and they'll in your back pocket in the back pocket in the cover house. Our uniforms are FR, fire retardant, and so if you pour a water bottle in your back pocket, it'll kind of stay a little. Then it'll start sinking in.
Oh, it
so people
gradually
will do that.
seeps through.
Yeah, pass the time.
Just pass the time. I got on board. They put some water down this guy's pants.
Yeah. Just funny moments. When you mentioned Lobster Tail, poor guy. He had a bunch
can
of
you
nicknames.
can you explain to our listeners why his name was Lobster Tail?
So first of all, his name is Gilbert. He's a really good dude. He's a good buddy.
You still work with him?
No, he works in a different company.
Oh, okay.
With my brother. My brother and I work in different companies.
Gotcha.
But, so the reason someone said that so he has a big butt.
There's no other way to say it. Yeah.
So a really funny guy. Damn, what was his name? Anyways,
Was it Mega Man?
No. It was another
Mighty
guy.
Mouse. No.
No, I don't think I ever brought it up to you, but he was real funny. He had a really great comedic time, and he was like, and he said it in Spanish. Mira, tiene toda la carne en la cola, like a lobster. So you know how lobsters, all the meat is in the tail.
Oh man, that's the best part.
Yeah. And then he gave another guy a nickname, Baby Dirt.
Baby what?
Yeah, Baby Dirt.
Baby Dirt.
You know how those potato bugs have those really big?
Oh no!
So there's a guy that had eyes like that, and the guy said in Spanish, "Tu mira, parece un niño de la tierra," and he didn't know how to say potato bug, or so he's just like, parece Baby Dirt.
Those potato bugs, man,
they're nasty.
That's why by the time I saw a potato bug at Pet Park bathroom, yeah, it scared me.
Oh,
it was like, I think the first time I ever saw one, I was just taking a piss.
Uh-huh.
And then I looked down on the floor and I thought it was like some kind of alien life form.
Yeah.
And then it scared me.
Yeah, well, that's how that guy looked. So, we do, people have nicknames.
Man, just to think you work with a potato bug and a lobster tail.
Yeah, lobster tail, Mighty Mouse is my friend Luis. He's another good friend. He no longer works in the industry, but
all right.
But we call him Mighty Mouse because he's a little short. But man, that dude, he's an incredible worker. I tell you what, he's definitely someone you want on your crew because he's a great worker.
That sounds good.
And that's why we call him Mighty Mouse, because even though he was short in stature, man, he can get it. He
nice.
He busted his butt, man. That's for sure.
Since we're on the topic of your coworkers, whatever happened to the guy? I remember you used to imitate him all the time, and you could hear this on episode 3.
Mark.
Is it the guy that would go? All right.
Yeah,
I was listening in preparation for this episode to the first episode, and I could hear you every now and then just going, all right, all right.
Yeah.
And it cracks me up to this day because we're just talking normally, and you would just go, all right.
Yeah, that was Mark, man. He was a crazy dude. He was a character. He had a real raspy voice. And every time...
Was it from all that tobacco he was chewing?
I think he smoked. He smoked.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But he would talk like, so you'd be explaining to something, hey, Mark, you better be careful when you open up this valve because it has a lot of pressure. All right. Hey, Mark, be careful. Hey, let me finish first before you. Right. And one time, I think my brother made him mad, or he made my brother mad.
Oh no!
Because every time my brother would, my brother, he's a tool pusher, rig manager, and that was when we were in drilling, and every time my brother would walk by, hey, what's up, big dog? And, my brother got, hey, Mark, all right, you already told me, like, what's up, like 10 times. Like, hey, don't get mad. Hey, you remember the time when I used to work at Whack Arnold's, a.k.a. McDonald's, when I used to do the apple dipper?
Oh, the apple dipper. Yeah.
There was this guy, real quick, that would always come in, order Happy Meals for his kids, and if you ever been to McDonald's, I don't know if they still do, but they used to give the option of getting fries or apple dippers.
You know what? Because I take my kids to, what would you call it?
Whack Arnold's.
Whack Arnold's.
Yeah.
No, now it's just you could get extra fries in the Happy Meals, or fruit. I don't know, some kind of fruit, but it's not apple dippers.
Okay, so yeah, back in the day, Whack Arnold's used to have an option where you get fries or apple dippers, and this guy would always come in and he would be like, "Let me get a 6-piece apple dipper." 6-piece chicken nugget apple dipper. And we used to say it all the time,
All the time, man.
Yeah, that was like a running joke with us.
I almost forgot about apple dipper. My favorite story that you have from Whack Arnold's. But he said a customer came in through the drive-thru, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get a Big Mac or whatever," and she goes, "And what should I get for my dog?" Do you remember what you responded?
Yeah, I was like, "Well, dog food, maybe."
And it's funny because I didn't think about it, but when I started working fast food at the Crazy Chicken place, El Pollo Loco. I had a lady, and she was like, "Hey, what can I get for my dog?" And I thought about saying dog food, but now that would have been too rude.
I said it,
but I think I said, I don't know. We have chicken, and I think she ended up going with like a breast piece.
Yeah,
and
I would have been like, "Well, see, if you turn around, there's a store called Petco. You can buy food for your dog right there, lady."
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, we got off topic. Let's bring it back to the black gold. Unforgettable moments. Is there anything that is unforgettable? A crazy story, unforgettable, insane, intense, something that happened that you'll never forget it.
There's a few. Let's start out when I was like almost brand new in the patch. We were pulling out of the hole, and I think we got stuck. Something we couldn't pull anymore. Oh. And I was up on the derricks. And so normally procedure will have me come down, and then they can pull whatever they want. That way, in case something happens, there's nobody up there. But they were in a hurry, and the tool pusher, the rig manager, got on the brake handle, and he was pulling. And I can literally feel the rig kind of like a slingshot, like go back. And
so set this up. You were like high up, right?
Yeah, I was in the derrick.
Like how high up in there?
60-something feet.
Whoa. Yeah.
And as he kept trying to pull up from whatever we were stuck, I don't remember exactly what happened because it's been a long time, but I can feel the rig going back and the pipe shaking and
what were you holding on for dear life?
Yeah, I was. I guess I was naive because I didn't know any better at the time. But I remember at the end of we were working nights. At the end of the night, there was another rig company on the island that we were at, and the rig manager for that rig came up to me, and he said, "Jurgen, if that ever happens again, dude, you come down. I don't care if they fire you. I don't care what happens, dude. Your life is more important than trying to be brave." Because he's like, if a lot of things could have happened. The blocks could have come up and shot and taken me with them. The rig could have folded over. It's happened before.
Jeez.
So like I said, I was brand new, a few months in.
Yeah,
so that was pretty scary.
Dang, that could have been it if something went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And when you're new, you don't think about that. You just want to please. Obviously, you want to, you want to be brave.
You want to show your bosses, your superiors that, look, I got it in me. I'll do whatever it takes.
But sometimes that's not good. I mean,
especially in a dangerous situation.
In a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm.
Then another time, I was climbing up. I got to the derrick board, monkey board, and our SRL, safety retractable line, which is safety anti-fall equipment. It was faulty, so I should have been using something called the pelican hooks, which is like something you climb up if that line doesn't work. But I figured,
like what rock climbers use. Like, are you talking about like a hook?
It's these hooks that you can clip on the ladder,
and it's
that way if you fall, it'll hold you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's these hooks.
It's like a safety thing in case you slip.
Yes.
It catches you.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
The SRL usually is the one that catches you.
Oh, gotcha.
So the problem with that SRL safety retractable line is it locked. So I got up there. I was gonna go to the diving board in the middle. I took a step and it locked, and it pulled me back, and one of my left foot, my whole left leg fell through one of the fingers that holds the pipe, and I was able to hold on to dear life on the handrail. So imagine just falling back, that feeling that something grabbing you, and you fell.
Yeah,
that was scary. That was scary.
So you could have fallen
yeah.
Off once again like 60 feet. You're up 60 feet and just falling off that thing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Another time offshore, like I mentioned before, we used the drilling mud, and so my gloves were muddy, wet, and it was nighttime. So offshore, you get the breeze from the little dew from the ocean.
Oh yeah.
So I was climbing up, and my left hand slipped. And I kind of swung from the ladder, like I was able to hold on with my right hand. But yeah, that was. And then there's been days where it's been real windy.
Yeah.
But those are the three. Oh, and then if I can fit one more in.
Oh yeah.
We were gonna work with a bigger tubing, which required a bigger equipment, casing tongs, as we would call them, instead of tubing tongs. The tongs that will make and break the pipe, and then there's different ones: iron roughnecks, hog jaws. So, anyways, we had to call a third party company to use their equipment, and we were highlighting them up to the rig floor, which is maybe 20 feet high, and their winch line, according to them, was brand new. Well, it snapped. And that equipment, I'm assuming it weighs over 500 pounds. It's pretty heavy, and it swung. And luckily, it didn't hurt nobody. But it shook the rig. Like,
dang.
I was in there. I was a little far away, not far away, but maybe like a good 60 feet away. And I just seen the rig shake. And I go and I investigate what happened, and told me, we had hooked our winch line to it, our line, and then in his truck he had his winch line tailgating it, and he barely had it like maybe a half a foot from his truck when a brand new line snapped, and boom, it hit the side of something called a turnbuckle, which was where we tied down our rig. And it bent, and that turnbuckle is meant to hold heavy. It's meant to hold the rig.
So I'm picturing kind of like a wrecking ball hitting something, right?
Yeah.
It was just like that. That's
just
crazy.
like that, exactly.
Wow, just a lot of dangerous situations.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why safety is like I mentioned before, is a big part of our culture.
So in those situations, does anyone ever like review like? This happened because of that. What can we do better?
Yeah, so there's always so now we have to do safety meetings before anything critical. We gather up, we talk about what we're gonna do, we identify and talk about how to mitigate any hazards that might come up in whatever task we may be doing. So people know to stay away. People know where to stand. Don't stand in the line of fire. Don't stand in pinch points. Don't put your hands in between. They can get crushed. When we're using those tongs, they have little, I want to say they look like little teeth, but we call them tong dies. And those little teeth is the one that grip the pipe and either make it or turn it. So when you're on make, they're the little small one is on the right hand side, and the big, we call it the C jaw, whatever you want to call it. It's on the left hand side. When you're on brake, when you're braking tubing, the big part is on the right hand side, and the little one's on the left hand side. So whenever you have to change that, you have to turn off the rig and disconnect the hoses. That way, if someone accidentally presses the lever to make to turn on the machine, it doesn't crush your hand.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's policy. Obviously, we don't do it a lot of the times because people want to be on the go.
Right.
But that's, it's just stuff to mitigate any incident or accident. So
that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, we have safety stand-ups at my job, right. But it's usually just this old Filipino dude who's like about to retire, and he's just like, "Oh, okay, everyone, gather around. Safety. If you see a dog in the yard, just rubber band the mail and bring it back. Don't try to be a hero and deliver the mail. You'll get bit." And he's a crazy guy. I can go off on him, but we're not talking about the mail. We're talking about you. Last question I wanted to ask you.
Right on.
Like, imagine some young guy is listening to this episode, and he's like, "Wow, that Jurgen, he's a cool cat. I want to be a roughneck one day and get that black gold." Let's say that guy's listening to you right now, and he wants to get into that job. He wants to make some good money. He wants to drive that Rolls Royce like you do every day.
It's pre-owned.
What would you tell a young whippersnapper that's thinking about getting into this field of work? What would you tell him?
First of all, if you do get in, be patient. There's a lot of information you got to learn, and it'll come with time. Normally, it's pretty redundant what we do. It's almost the same process. So just watch, learn, be coachable, ask questions, because I know I was pretty timid to ask questions. I didn't want to ask a stupid question and be laughed at. But ask questions. Be open-minded about things. Don't think you're always right. There's a lot of the young kids nowadays think they're right. They want to talk back, and be humble, because this industry will humble you real fast. And like I've told you before, there was times where I've left pretty frustrated and in my beginning years, and almost in tears, because I wanted to get it. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be up there. I wanted. And my brother stuck his name out for me, so I didn't want to let my brother down. I didn't want to let anybody down, and that's just the will you have to have, man. Take pride in what you do, like we mentioned early in the beginning.
Right.
So, be patient. It's not gonna come all at once. There's things that people that I've known 30 years in the oil field, they're still learning. I had this company man, he was from Louisiana, and he's like, "I've been in the oil field 3 years. I know everything there is to know about oil field." Mm-hmm. and he would learn something new every day. So be patient. Be ready to do a lot of hard work, because when you're the newbie, man, you're the gopher. Go for this, go for that. Like I was telling this kid, man, he was pretty frustrated with him having to do all the cleanup and all the this and that. And I was like, "Dude, I've been there. I know how it is. But just do your time, bro. Just, be likable. If the guys see you, obviously don't do anything stupid that might get you hurt. But, yeah, you're going to have to bite your lips a lot of time and just put your head down and do the work. So if there's any of you that do get into this industry, good luck. I wish you all the best. It's a great industry. It has its up and downs. But man, I wish you all the best, and take pride in your work, man. It's a great industry. I'm real proud to be part of it, and it gives you meaning. It gives you a great satisfaction to know you're doing something for your community, for the world, for your country. I mean, I'm not saying we're in the army or anything like that or the military, but we provide. I wasn't home for my birthday. I was out working. I wasn't home for my mom's birthday. I was out working. I wasn't home for Christmas. I wasn't home for Thanksgiving.
No way.
But it's like that, and I know my brother. My brother was like that, man. He spent, before he was the big boss, and even when he was the big boss, he missed birthdays, anniversaries. But that's the lifestyle we're chasing, man, and can't get any better than this, man. You're out there with your boys, having fun, talking smack to each other. But that's all in good fun, man. Just make the time pass, and you're with a great group of guys. And like I said, this company Ensign that I'm with, I'm real happy. I'm real proud, and they treat their guys good. The other day we had a safety meeting, and they asked us, "How do you guys feel about working at Ensign?" And I brought up a little. I told my boss, I was like, "Look, these sweaters and the hats that you give us." And they give us a really cool lunch pail with the Ensign logo. I was like, it may look small to you guys and maybe insignificant, but to me, at least to me, I take pride in that. I like wearing my hoodie and my jackets and my Ensign shirts where I go, and people asking me, "Oh, what is that? What do you do?" And that built up morale, man. I worked in a company where everybody else but the workers had gear from that company. The boat captains, the lease operators, everybody was wearing basic shirts. The company was called Basic. It no longer exists. But, the boat captains, everybody but us, the workers, the backbone of the company.
Right.
And to be honest, it might sound like pretty insignificant, but at least to me, at least to everybody else, I was kind of like, man, that sucks, So this company treats us good, and man, I'm real happy, man. I'm real proud to be part of Ensign and be part of the oil field and all the brothers out there that are working, that are away from home, missing their birthdays, missing anniversaries, hanging in there, brothers. One day we'll reach the rainbow. But, yeah.
Jurgen, I couldn't have said it any better myself. That was a beautiful speech right there. And I agree. Having that uniform, being proud of what you do. I think all that's important in any job. When I wear my uniform, it's like, yeah, I'm representing something beyond me. Yeah, I'm a person. We all like having our own personalities, but we put on a uniform or represent our brand. We stand for something. We're a part of something, and we know we're providing a service or good for the people around us.
Yeah, my even when I worked at Whack Arnold's, man, I
Whack Arnold's. That's one of my favorite things.
I wore that polo with the golden arches with pride.
Speaking of Whack Arnold's, have you heard of their new uniform?
No.
They're like trying to be all hipster looking, giving them like beanies and like t-shirts and jeans.
Oh man, that's not the McDonald's I grew up with. Yeah, man.
Times is changing.
Well, I was there during when they were trying to transition out of that family environment, and I remember telling my Super Nintendo or supervisor, superintendent, whatever. I was like, "Hey, man, a lot of people are saying it looks like a depressed coffee house," and he was like, "Yeah, that's the look we want to go with." I was like, "Yeah."
I know. So you're talking about when. It looked from. It went from the colorful restaurant, like a Caro's looking type of place, to like a warehouse.
That dark, earthly colors, whatever you want to call it. And man, that's not the McDonald's we grew. At least us kids, older kids.
We had the play plays, colors.
They got rid of the play plays. It's I don't know. It's just times are changing, so I guess.
It's like, hey,
we're getting old.
We want you all depressed. Look at this. Look at this box.
Yeah, man.
Back then we had angles and shapes and actual arches. Now, right angles.
Yeah, remember they had logo. They had Ronald and Grimace and that little birdie girl. And remember the old like McDonald's open late. They had like the moon guy. You remember
moon
that?
guy.
Like, yeah, he was it looked like a crescent moon, and it was a character they had. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I remember the Hamburglar.
They had the Hamburglar. Yeah, man. Anyways, if you guys want to look it
Grimace
up.
made a comeback though.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the Grimace Shake.
The Grimace
right?
Shake,
Yeah,
and then there was a song, and my kids play it. It's actually a catchy song. It's called "Happy Birthday, Grimace."
Oh, what?
If you look it up, it's
Okay.
trippy. It's like modern and what the kids are into nowadays.
Yeah, psychedelic.
Yes, it's like psychedelic pop. I don't know how to describe it. EDC ish. Anyway. Happy Birthday, Grimace. Look it up.
Yeah,
It'll
all right.
trip you out.
Okay.
Or Mick trip you out. But now, Jurgen, enough about McDonald's. We're talking about the oil.
I feel that.
I just want to say it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for stopping by here at BeachGlass Studios.
Yeah.
For being part of the show, and this is your episode. I think it was a great one. Any final words?
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew, for and BeachGlass Studios for having me around. It's always fun to come and talk. And like I said, once you get to know me, I won't shut up.
No, man.
But
You have one of the best personalities of anybody that I know. You're funny. You have good insight. You know history. Hopefully, you can keep coming back whenever we have like an open spot. And even Marcelo was talking about having you here with him and just doing another episode, but just with you.
yeah.
Sitting in.
That'd be fun, man.
That would be fun because you're great to talk to. You have great stories. So hopefully in the future we can have you back on.
Cool. Can I end on one fun fact? Since I like facts and histories.
Oh, of course, man.
So, if you don't know, the oil is selling in barrels. So, $20 a barrel, $30 a barrel, $90 a barrel, whatever. The reason why oil is sold in barrels and not in pounds or like anything, normal, is because back in Pennsylvania, when they first saw oil seeping out of the ground, they didn't know what to do with it. They knew it was worth something, and they only had whiskey barrels to put it in. So that's why we sell oil in barrels. And one barrel has 42 gallons.
42 gallons.
Yes, sir. So you just been schooled by the J-Dog.
All right.
Podcast listeners. But anyways, Andrew, thank you. Marcelo, thank you for having me come by. And
well, thank you for
fun, man.
Thank you
I
for
hope
dropping.
You guys enjoy it.
Oh, we all enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Thank you for dropping so much knowledge on us. We have been schooled.
Yeah, class is in session. Or was in session.
Now class dismissed.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
It's
again.
out for summer now.
Well, thanks again for stopping by, and hopefully Jurgen will hear your sultry voice very soon one day.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. All right. Simple Times is out.
Blood, sweat, spit, and a filthy tongue. Oh, the whole field hurts like a snake bite stung. So I'll send a card for Christmas and birthdays missed, and I'll sign the papers for the woman that I couldn't kiss, and I'll take the blame if I don't make the good Lord's list. But when I die, I hope they know it was all for them, 'cause I'd do it all over again. There ain't nothing in the world like earning these stripes. They're getting put out of work when the price ain't right.
BeachGlass Media, editing by Andrew Reyes.